Teachers on Grand Bahama back at the polls after nearly 10 months, and Megan Shepherd details straight ahead.
BTC making history as business leaders hear from a trailblazer.
Our objective is to prevent crime from happening in our communities.
Police partnering with the Pan American organization to tackle a vexing issue. A big day for dads on Grand Bahama.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, I'm Sabrina Brown. Thank you for joining us. Hundreds of educators nationwide headed back to the polls today to decide who will lead the Bahamas Union of Teachers, following a tumultuous period filled with suspensions, allegations, and court battles. The race for the leadership of the BUT now lies between former President Belinda Wilson and former Acting President Zane Lightbourne. This morning here on Grand Bahama, educators spoke via the ballot box, voting for who they want to lead this August body. Megan Shepherd reports.
It was decision day for persons looking to head the Bahamas Union of Teachers. Educators across the island headed to the polls once again. Their last election took place on June 9th, 2016, and while some members of the executive board were selected, the positions of president, treasurer, and trustee were under protest. Now, some 10 months later, court approval has been granted for the membership to cast their votes. Area Vice President Quinton LaRota.
We have for President Zane Lightbourne and Belinda Wilson. Therese is running for treasurer, and Laurie Knowles. And for trustee, we have Victoria Willis, Margaret Albury, Venetia Simmons, and Miss Pinta Monroe.
LaRota says their last term was filled with too much drama and a myriad of issues that he would like to forget. Following the election, his goal is to see the executive body move forward for the betterment of education nationwide.
I'm hoping for unity, a new direction, a better way forward, accountability, transparency, and once and for all, putting all of this fighting over constitutional breaches and situations with the union finances behind us.
Some 600 teachers are eligible to cast votes in this morning's elections. LaRota says he is pleased with the number of persons that turned up this morning on Grand Bahama, and he has even gotten word of impressive numbers around the country.
The turnout early was impressive. I think we already had about 100 people voted by 9 o'clock.
Teachers that showed up early to the polls say their main focus is good, fair leadership and unity within the union.
I'm hoping that the teachers would go and do which is right.
Retired teacher and observer with the trade union Doyle Russell says that this exercise is a true display of democracy.
They're making a democratic decision for themselves to run their union without any kind of trouble whatsoever. They're just following the right procedure.
Polls on Grand Bahama were closed at 5 p.m. Megan Shepherd, ZNS Network News.
The first female vice president of BTC paying a special visit to the Rotary Club of Lucaya. She gave an update on services that have been interrupted since Hurricane Matthew, and Rotarians heard firsthand why officials of the company still believe that this is BTC country. Shishina Roll reports.
This is BTC's country. You've heard that slogan time and time again. Now, Vice President of the Northern Bahamas, Eldry Ferguson Mackey, is giving Rotarians a glimpse of how the slogan came to be and why meeting with Rotarians in various organizations helps BTC to be at the cutting edge.
Someone came in, we spent thousands of dollars. At that time, I was the Vice President of Marketing, and they gave us what they thought would have been stellar. And I looked at it, I looked at my team, and I asked the consultants to excuse themselves, and we said, nah, we're gonna start over, because it just does not resonate with the community. So whenever we come into these gatherings, it tells us what people are thinking, it tells us what the needs are, and it tells us what needs to happen. And this is why we've managed to maintain and help keep this BTC country.
But months after Hurricane Matthew, Ferguson Mackey admits that BTC has been severely impacted and is still in the process of repairing services throughout Grand Bahama.
When we looked at our wireless network around the time of the outage, I remember when we were sitting in the command center, we were somewhere around 23%. And I remember the boss, when he came on island, he said he sat in 8 Mile Rock, and as far as his eyes could see, every light pole was on the ground. And you could imagine sitting at the helm of this ship, a multi-million-dollar company, and thinking, how do I get my customers back in service?
The vice president of the Northern Bahamas says her team is working hard to ensure that all repairs were completed by the end of March.
So we've managed to get all the critical essential services up, tourist locations up, and now we're working on our business communities, and we're working on the local and the residential communities. Our teams have been working 7 days a week. If you've been riding in the Freeport 8 Mile Rock area, you see those little trucks on the road all day. All day. I think we've been doing 7-day weeks now for almost a month.
She says despite the competition, PTC remains loyal to its customers and continues to make the investments that no one else will.
Regardless of the competitor, regardless of what it is that they have to bring, we welcome the competition. But again, we're family. We fight. Sometimes things don't always work the way we want it to, but at the end of the day, we're family. And BTC stretches the length and breadth of the Bahamas, and we've made investments that some investors will never make. Nobody's going to spend millions of dollars to put a satellite for telephone services or cellular services on a key for 10 people. There's no ROI in that. Nobody's going to spend millions of dollars to put a fixed line network in Inagua or run submarine fiber cables through these islands and never see the investment in our lifetime.
Shashina Roll, ZNS Network News.
An international body coming to the assistance of a local community in the fight against crime. Joan Davis-Roll has that story.
Members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, teaming up with the Pan American Development Foundation and community activist Ricardo Major to take a local community by storm. Their goal is to tackle not only crime but the overall redevelopment of the Coral Gardens community. Pan American Development Foundation Country Coordinator Charo Walker-Morley.
We're here today as part of the Pan American Development Foundation's Resistance and Prevention Program. We're hosting a community action plan, which is an initiative to work in the community and particularly the Coral Gardens neighborhood to do a cleanup. The Resistance and Prevention Program is a social crime prevention program, and our objective is to prevent crime from happening in our communities. And one of the ways that we think we can do this is by bettering communities, cleaning up communities, and that we know reduces the incidences of crime as well as the fear of crime.
Assistant Superintendent of Police Henry Roll says the role they play is a critical one, and he's appealing to the wider community for their support.
We look at addressing some of the social, environmental issues that affect the quality of life in Coral Gardens. However, this project will help us to reduce the fear of crime in these areas. So we ask the community to partner with us so that we can have a safe and productive community.
A major force behind this latest initiative is educator and community activist Ricardo Major.
What I would like to see us do is for the individuals that own the various apartment buildings in the community to make a more concerted effort to keep their buildings and their surroundings clean. Make sure that their tenants are disposing the waste properly, disposing of it properly so that when sanitation service come, it can be collected. And then also we're trying to present our community in such a way that people don't see it as a dumping ground.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. There's more news after this.
You look good about it. I think it's time for we to get in action and try to get this election going to get our government back in power.